This is Mainstream Metaphysics with your host, Nick Newmont.
Well, welcome to Mainstream Metaphysics. I'm Nick Newmont. It is a Tuesday night here in Southern California. Welcome to the show. We are here in the studios of Conejo Valley Talk Radio in Westlake Village, California. It is me, myself, and I, except that is Ed Hunt back there running the show. Or as I like to say sometime with emphasis, that's Ed friggin' Hunt, and you better believe it. We have, I don't know how long we've been working here from Conejo Valley Talk Radio Studios, but it's been a while. And I really enjoy working out of here. It is quiet. There's different things that go on in these offices and different businesses, but it is quiet as a mouse. It's just Ed, me. There's a lot to talk about. When I don't have a guest, you can be sure that I will fill this time. I've got to tell you that before the show starts, it's a shame that the cameras aren't running, because there are some really funny things that are said, and reminiscing about old TV shows, stand-up comics, quoting movies. There's some funny stuff, and at some point I think we got to let that run and just play that, because we're laughing our butts off at some of the stuff that we remember. Anyway, again, welcome. We are here on September 17th. We have a few days left of summer, and it is crazy for those of us that live here in SoCal to get to a point where it's now cool in the mornings, where a little over a week ago it was 114 degrees, and I'm not kidding. The other day the temperature difference had dropped 50 degrees, so it was around 64 one day. I'm sure there's nothing going on with the weather. It's all normal and natural, right? Sure it is. Lot of things coming up at the center. Two things in particular, and in this main theme of tonight's show. October 12th, I am teaching numerology at the center, and there's that guy right here. Whoop. You know that everything is backwards. There we go. Now I got it. Okay, my left is my right. There we go. Numerology. That book came out in 2003. Very proud of that, and we'll be teaching out of that book. So if you are interested in it and you've never taken numerology, please get in touch with me. It is Saturday, October 12th. It's an all-day event, and Becca Hennessy is watching. Hello there. Thank you. And then, of course, on Saturday, October 26th, the psychic panel reconvenes at the Newmont Center, of course. Gina Ann, Mary Elizabeth, Inanna, and myself. Really looking forward to that. And when Gina Ann was on the show a couple weeks ago, oh my goodness, we got a huge viewership to that. So thank you for watching. Really, really appreciate that. I mean, it was a good show too. She's a great guest. I have her on a lot more frequently. Hello, see, there's Mary Elizabeth. She's tuning in tonight. Thank you. I appreciate you looking in, and stay, because there's something about psychics and readings that I want to get into. Before that, let's touch on tonight is the full moon. Okay, it is a full moon lunar eclipse. It happens tonight at 7:35 p.m. here on the West Coast, 10:35 p.m. on the East Coast. And it means the moon is in Pisces while the moon is in Virgo. And remember, full moons are for releasing, letting go. And when you look at the axis of Pisces to Virgo, Virgo rules the 6th house, which is the day-to-day details of things, and it rules your physical health, where the 12th house is ruled by Pisces, which is Neptune, and that's your mental health. And that's the parts of us that we don't always like to look at. in the 12th house. I'd like to call the 12th house the dungeon of the zodiac. Secret, sorrows, self-undoing institutions, karma, addictions, hypnosis. So this is a time to really take a look at where you are with yourself, mentally and physically. Are there habits that you need to let go of? Now, because this is a full moon, and we know that full moons do have a tendency to stir some people up, we want to be very stable and balanced in our emotions right now, and have a good balance between our physicality and our mentality. And because the Pisces moon has been referred to as the victim moon, people with a Pisces moon have a tendency to stay in situations longer than they should, even though it's not going well. Pisces is ruled by Neptune, and Neptune has a tendency to make things very illusional and disillusional. We don't see them clearly. So this is a good time to look at things and get a good idea of what has outserved its usefulness at this full moon, and then release it. And of course, if you do a full moon ritual, you can take things and write them down on a piece of paper, whatever thoughts, feelings, behaviors that don't serve you, throw them in the cauldron of fire. I release whatever that is, and be gone. So, and as I always say in my Facebook posts, howl, but when you howl tonight, say, I am done. So, yeah, full moon tonight in Pisces. So let's let go of what's not serving us. Now, when it comes to, because the Neptune is, of course, is the psychic part of the brain, and I'm glad at least Mary Elizabeth has tuned into this. You know, I've noticed with people recently, and I mean compassionately, the recent events, recent situations in the world have got people thrown off. There is a lot of fear that is being put out there, and people are having a hard time dealing with fear. And it's really getting under people's skin. They don't know how to act, and they are turning toward psychics more and more and more for direction, for answers. And I'm sure Mary Elizabeth and some of other psychics, whether they're showing that they're on the show or not, would agree. You know, we are busier than ever, and we are here to help people and give them direction, but we're not here to do the work for them. All right? And I have said on past shows that there are times when a person maybe is better off going to therapy as opposed to going to a psychic, because the words from a psychic are directional, and a lot of times it's good news, or it is sometimes forewarning, but it's about you, the receiver of the reading, and what you do with that information. We can tell you a lot of different things, and them being true, but do you act on those things? Or if it's pointed out to you, there's something in your life that doesn't serve you, do you take the opportunity to handle that to your best ability so that you can be stronger within yourself? Now, I had an event with a client yesterday. It's an infrequent client, and this has happened before, where the person starts telling me too much, all right? Now, what I mean by that is sometimes people will email me before an appointment and send me notes like this is all the stuff they want to talk about. And I have a tendency to either tell them, please don't do that, or I don't read that, because if that goes into my conscious mind, that interferes with me being psychic. And that has nothing to do with numerology or astrology, because those are sciences, and they are as exact as they can be based on what they do and what they tell us, especially when it comes to timing. So what happened in this session yesterday, and this individual is not the first time this has happened, this woman just starts telling me this story about events in her life that are all related, but she just kept going and going and going and going, and I'm watching the clock and thinking, she's just going to use up all the time. And sure enough, and she didn't use up the entire reading. The early part, I talked more. So when we got to the end, I said, I'm sorry, we have to stop. I have another client waiting. She got extremely upset and that the time ran out. And this is something that, if you're going to come to a psychic and you record the session, I guarantee you, if you play it back and you hear your voice more than the reader's voice, then one, you wasted a lot of time and money, and two, if you have to talk about events in your life that much, then it's not a psychic that you should be going to. It is a therapist, because if it's bothering you that much and it is in the past, and this situation is definitely in the past, we're not really looking for an outcome for something that's past or could be in the past or should be in the past. So when you go to a psychic, allow them to see what they see and get the information for you, because the more the information is organic. Just let the information come to them and let them tell you what they're seeing. Because once we tap into your energy field and lock in on that, we are reading you and we are picking up on things that are pertinent to your life. Now, sometimes in really good situations, people, just allow for us to do our job, and the readings are really good. A couple Saturdays ago, one of my clients, who's a very successful business person, had an event at her house and brought other business people in for me to read. And this was not like a psychic party where people want to know, when their cat is going to have kittens again and stuff like that. These were really serious business people with serious decisions to make. And that is, some of those people were really awesome to read for. And one woman just completely opened up that I've never met before and read. And I told her things that were so specific, she was awestruck. But I turned it around and I complimented her. I said, "You're very open. You're not blocking me, and you make it easy for me to read you." So when people do that, when they just open up and set their intention that they are just going to receive, that Spirit is going to speak through and tell them what they need to hear, those are the best readings. Now, people that have been coming to me for many years, they know how I work. I will update their astrology chart or the numerology. Sometimes I bring cards out. But even in all those media, meaning the numbers, the charts, the cards, palms, I'm still tapping in, precognitively and psychically as to what's going on. And I am reading the energy field. But it's really important that you allow the reader to tell you. And what I always tell people too is that if most of what you want to know will be covered in the first part of the reading, and if anything isn't covered, then you will have plenty of time to ask questions. And that's a really good way to do it. And I know my colleagues have their way of doing it. But once again, if you're talking on that recording more than the psychic or the reader is, you're not going to get the information that you think you want. So that's important. And I like doing what I'm doing, and some of my associates, all of my associates, they love doing what they're doing. Let us do our job. That's why you're bringing us forward, okay? So, anyway, I just want to put that out there. And by the way, that is that's more in the minority of people that do that kind of thing. Somebody I know real well has a spouse that likes to talk a lot more and tell the story instead of letting me, which is just kind of funny. And sometimes I just kind of sit back and go, "You need to talk, then go ahead and talk." And when I did that, those readings at that house a couple weeks ago, at the end of the day, I was so tired because I was working psychically way more than the other media that I use. to get their questions answered. And, you know, they invited me. They said, "You want to hang around with us for a while?" And I was like, "No, I just need to go home." I was exhausted at the end of that. But it was a good exhaustion. Now, I said, So next week, I probably will not do a show because I am going to, hi, Audrey, I am going to out of state to do property blessings. And I think it's so funny that 2-3 weeks ago when Becca Hennessy, you know, co-hosted with me, that the subject of that show was the pentagram ritual and the house blessings and property blessings. And I will be gone for a week somewhere else. And if I find it within myself next Tuesday, because I'll be in a different time zone, not a twilight zone, a different time zone, I may do a show. But I will let everyone know if I'm able to do that, where I still have some brain left at that point. But I will be back here in 2 weeks. And also, definitely October 15th, Carol Allen will be back on the show, and we will pick up where we left off a few weeks back and looking at elections and all that kind of stuff and see how we compare notes. So as we move into the next few days, we move into Libra season. And I wanted to mention that in the event I don't do a show next week, our good man behind the scenes there, Ed Hunt, his birthday is September 30th. And his partner here and good friend Becca Hennessy, October 14th. Audrey, my wife, October 13th. I believe Dr. Stephen Palmer in our office, I think he's October 10th. I think I'm October 20th. So lots and lots and lots of Libras. Birthdays coming up. So, and lots of playtime, lots of fun too. I know when we get to this time of year and the weather does turn a little bit, and as we get to our October birthdays, that the holiday season is around the corner, and it goes really fast. So when you look at the calendar today and you see it's September 17th, it's like we are almost 9 months into the year. Where has it gone? When it comes to people's mentality right now, it's really a challenge to keep people stable. A lot of people are really bouncing off the walls right now, and I compare notes with Audrey a lot on clients and client behaviors, and people are bouncing off the walls to the point where sometimes they can't even get themselves in for their sessions. Audrey has gone through a sort of a string of a few people that can't get themselves together, and it's not about Audrey or whether those people come in or not. It's more about those people and the state of mind that they're in right now, and the level of fear that's in people that drives them to do things that are not for their benefit. When fear kicks in, the fight-flight mechanism in the subconscious mind just causes people to do random things. And right now, people really are in flight quite a bit. So, be very mindful being around people that some people are handling times right now very easily, very well, and feel very in control. And some people are just flailing around like tumbleweeds in the wind. So, hold a good space for people that are not in a good space with themselves, okay? Because we want everyone to do well in this time. All right. Now, as promised, I want to talk about a few concepts of numerology. And Ed, if we go to the overhead, I want to show some things that I'm going to do in the upcoming numerology class. Even if you've taken numerology with me in the past, I'm going to bring some different topics in that show you how to work things differently. And a lot of this has to do with relationship. And there is, Ed's got the overhead going. Isn't this cool? All right, so when two people are in a relationship, and I'm going to use Audrey's numbers with my numbers because I know how they are, and because my numbers have a triad to them. So where Audrey is a 41 over 5, okay, and I am a 50 over 5. So we look to see where things interlock. So, and I've done this before, so I'm a 50 over 5. Now, when the person's base number sits in a position of somebody else's influence number, like this is the main influence, this is the minor influence, this is my base. So we interlock on the number 5, which means that our sense of freedom is very important. But what we'd say here numerologically, because Audrey's base, which is who she is, sits in my main influence, Audrey is numerologically dominant in the relationship. Okay? Now, we also look at what's the common, what binds two people together. So where she is a 41 over 5 and I am a 50 over 5, that's simple math. 41 and 50 is 91. And I'm not going to write this, but 9 and 1 is 10. And in 10, 1 and 0 is 1. So the number that unifies us, 91 over 1, is all about unity and singularity. So even though we're both 5s, and we both like our freedom, we like to come and go as we please, we're very much into change, but the 5s create the 1, which is unity. So no matter how much we move around, and you hear Audrey talk about, she likes to go in her solitude, she goes camping and stuff like that, but no matter how much we move around and like to get out and about, we still come back to the number 1, which is singularity. Audrey's writing over there, Pauline, 41.5. Yes, I do talk about that in my book, about 41.5 as the person that likes their freedom, but they have a tendency to trap themselves a little bit. So this system is something that I will be talking about in the class, and how to work relationships and see how relationships come together. Sometimes there is no bond, okay? It does help a relationship to have a bonding number where there's a common number that interlocks the two people. Like, for instance, someone could be a 37 over 1 and the other person is like a 26-8. There's no bond in there, all right? Another example would be one person is a 24 over 6 and the other person could be a 61 over 7. So the bond is 6, which means love, home, and family, the relationship together, living in one household. So that's how that works. So, having said that, Ed, if you will put the phone number up on the screen, if you'd like to call in and have like a brief 2-minute reading with me, there it is, 818-865-8770, and you will be on speakerphone when you call in. There's no secrets. Telling everybody your story. Call if you dare. So what is on your mind? What do you want to know about you? When you ask a question or want me to just take a look at what's going on with you, I'm not going to be talking about world events or anything like that. This is for you and about you. Yeah. What is it that you're looking at in your life? Is it your health? Is it your happiness? Is it money or success? Is it love? Is it your spirituality? What needs attention? What do you want more of? Here we go. Welcome to Mainstream Metaphysics. Hello? Hello?
Welcome to Mainstream Metaphysics.
Hello? Hi.
Hi.
Hi. What's your birthday?
Hello.
Turn your sound down, okay?
Hello. Hi. Bridget.
Yeah, turn your sound down.
December 7, 1956. There we go.
December 7th.
December 7, 1956.
Okay. So, and by the way, when we do this, I add 1 to 9 is 10, and 5 is 15, and 6 is 21. And then we bring the 12 and the 7 over. 12 and 7 is 19. 19 and 21 is 40. But Bridget is not a 4. Watch this. 2 and 7 is 9, and 6 is 15. 1 and 5 is 2 and 5 is 7. 1975 adds up to 22. So Bridget is a master challenge number. She's a 40 over 22. No stress or pressure in your life, right?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, the world on your shoulders.
Yep, that's kind of it.
All right, now, with your birthday around the corner, see how I put 2023 here? You haven't had your birthday yet. Even though we're in 2024, we don't put 24 until a person has had their birthday. So you're still in your prior cycle, Bridget. So 4 and 3 is 7, 7, 12. You're in a 26-8 year until your birthday. As of your birthday, then you go into 27 over 9. Now, what this means is that when you're in an 8 year, you want to be mindful of money and money management. All right? It doesn't mean money just flows. It doesn't mean it goes out. It's about how you take care of money. And also, 8 has to do with your possessions. So this is a time where you would be looking at your intrinsic values. What's important? What's necessary? The number 2 represents your partner. You are married. The number 6 represents the house you live in. It also represents people that are important to you in your life, like you have children. And so when you're in a 26-8 and the number 2 leads, that means your partner is having a big influence on what goes on in the house and how he supports the family and the influence he has on money. So what that means is whatever's going on with money, even though you're in an 8 year, your partner, your spouse, is the one that's directing this, okay?
Yep.
Now, what's really interesting is that while 26-8 is very solid about possessions and material things, when you go into a 27-9 year, this means your partner becomes more studied, more spiritual, and there's a lot more compassion. Now, when you go into a 9 year, Bridget, the thing that's really important to recognize is that is a time of endings. We live in 9 year cycles, 1 through 9. And so when we get into the 9th year, we're into completing things, not starting new things, okay? And it's fascinating because I do know something about you where we say the partner gets into deeper things. Don't you find it fascinating already that he's into deeper studies?
Yeah.
Should we look at his birthday number, his numbers?
Yeah. He is December 29, 1943.
Okay. 10, 14, 3, 17. Bring 12 and 29 over. And 12 and 29 is 41. 41 and 17 is 58. And then we have to look at this. 1984. That's up to 22. Now, I want to tell you something, and this is not just for you, Bridget, but everybody watching. I don't know that I've ever read for a married couple that were both 22s, okay? And a 22 is wants to create organizations, institutions, is very philanthropic, wants to build big things. Now, because you're a 40 over 22, you feel more stress and pressure. A 58 22 is someone who's a catalyst when it comes to business and money. All right? So, very similar but very different. Now, he's still in his current cycle, and he's in a 48 over 3, which means that he's in a time of being more social friendly, wants to engage people. 48 has to do with structuring things around money, okay? When he goes into his birthday at the end of the year, he's a 49 over 4, which means anything that looks like work is coming to completion. He's going into a cycle where it's about get the job done, okay? And he'll become a lot more structured, as we move toward his birthday at the year end, basically the beginning of 2024. Is there anything that you would like to ask?
Oh, gosh. I don't know where to start.
That's funny.
I mean, he's always been very much about money and structuring things, anticipating, I guess, is there something he should be anticipating, or
well,
what thoughts there?
When a person goes into a 49 over 4 year, they become very intentional about what they want to accomplish. That's the key. Now, I will say this, but that is coming, but it's going to be very fascinating is that, and I can do the math in my head, when he gets to his birthday, December 29 of 2025, he's going to go into a 50 over 5 year, which means he's going to change a lot. He's going to not be as structured, little more free-willing, come and go as he please. Come on, let's go do this. He'll be more spontaneous, at the end of 2025 going into 26. So, but right now, he's on a mission, okay? And that mission is going to take him through 2025. So, now for you, you being in this 27 over 9 cycle that's coming as of December 7th, this makes you very sensitive, sympathetic, empathetic. The more that you get into your own studies of meditation and things like that, advanced studies, the better off you'll be. But because 27-9 is a soft cycle, just make sure when you go into that cycle that you're not wearing a doormat on your back so people aren't walking on you. Because there is such a thing as caring too much, all right?
Is that with, I don't know who that would be. Well, family, I don't know, family or?
Oh, in a lot of areas of your life. So just don't let people work you, because that there can be a certain level of guilt, imposed guilt on a 27 over 9. Stand your ground. Keep your boundaries.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling in.
Okay.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Yep. Good night.
Great show.
Thank you. Oh, that was good. Now, I've got to tell you, until someone else calls in, I'm serious. I have never seen couples that both had 22s, which are Master Challenge numbers on the bottom like that. So, very, very, stronger personalities. Hello?
Hello, are there some of my numbers?
Okay. What's your birth date?
May 13th, 1983.
Okay. So your birth path number is 39 over 3. So a 3 personality is a communicator. 39 speaks with compassion. And 3 is positive and optimistic. So it's really important as a 39-3 to enjoy people, get out with people. A 39-3 leads with compassion, and 3s are natural leaders. Not the kind of leader that's like an executive, like a desk pounder, but the kind of person that knows how to get along with people. Now, one of the things, because 9 is also endings, not just compassion, 3-9 over 3 means people coming to completion. What this means, I'll say in everyday English, this is recycling people. And you've lived enough of your life at this point to see that what people would go out of your life and then people recycle and come back in. This is the pattern of your life in dealing with people. Okay? Now, with your birthday cycle as of May 13th, you are in a 26 over 8 year. Now, when you're in an 8 year, it's really important to look at money, manage money, focus more on income than spending, take an assessment of your intrinsic values, what's really important to you. And I want to say this, and I didn't say it like this to the last caller. We are, every time that we're in a cycle, a 1 year, a 2 year, a 3 year, these are cycles of opportunity, and it's your internal clock. And so it's a time to live thematically. So when you're in an 8 year, which is about material possessions, getting ahead in life, being successful, you want to use the positive side of what it represents. Because if you accidentally mismanage anything that's in that cycle, an 8 year, a 7 year, whatever it is, then it can take 9 years until you cycle back to that to get that to come back, to be able to heal that. When you're in a 26-8, be mindful of not just money, but anything, partnerships that have to do with money. Okay? Make sure that you are getting what you need. Okay?
Okay.
Is there a question that you'd like to ask?
I was wondering how it relates to, my wife, who's, 12, 14, 87, 85. If those numbers, match up or compare in any way.
Well, she is a 49 over 4, and you're a 39 over 3, and then they won't interlock in the way I did it earlier in the show. But you both do have 9s, which means you both have a compassionate side to you. Now, she's still in her 2023 cycle. She hasn't had her birthday yet. She's in a 33-6 cycle, which means that if she is, let me ask you this, is she working?
Yes.
Okay, so she wants to be very mindful of her responsibilities and her responsibilities as opposed to taking on other people's responsibilities. When a person is in a 33-6 year, there's a lot that has to do with balancing. And because 3 is what you say, this means that half the world is going to listen to what she says and half the world is not going to like what she has to say. So she has to make sure, because this is a sensitive cycle, that she doesn't take things personally if people are critical of her. Now, your personal year cycles, at least for the moment, do interlock. So until her birthday, she is in a 33/6 cycle, and you are in a 26/8. So the common theme that aligns you for the moment is the number 6, which is family matters, things on the home front, your marriage, if there's children involved. So, and also the number 6 represents health. So one of the things that aligns the two of you is health. Work out together. Help each other out in terms of health habits or food or whatever it may be. Okay.
Okay.
Anything else you'd like to know with that?
Not really. This whole thing is kind of is interesting to me. I'm trying to learn, the numbers and how they relate. So I appreciate all your help.
Well, keep in mind, as I said, that on October 12th, I am teaching this full-blown class on numerology at the center. All right?
Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Sure. Thank you for calling. Have a good night.
You as well.
Good night. There we go. Yes, if you are interested in numbers, and numerology is much easier to learn than astrology or the tarot or palmistry. It lays the foundation for learning the esoteric sciences, because there are numbers in everything. There truly are. And all those numbers have a value. Check into the class that starts on Saturday, October 12th, is all day from 10 to 6. If you'd like more details on that, you can call 818-865-8770 right there, or email me at nnewmont, N-N-E-W-M-O-N-T, @gmail.com. There's Adi Fravel. Hello there. Thanks for watching. So do you have any questions? We still have about 17 minutes left of the show. A lot to do, a lot to talk about. Numbers are fun. A lot of people are intimidated by numbers. Somebody I live with is a little intimidated by numbers. She's not the numbers person. She does a lot of things great. She's not the numbers person. She'll tell you that. We joke about that. In my history of doing numerology, there are a lot of predictions that I've made. And when I'm doing a show like this, I keep it little general. I don't go too far out there because I don't have a lot of time. But the numbers that show up in our birth dates, the number that shows up in names, all come into play. Like, for instance, tomorrow I have a client calling me. She has to name her business, and each letter of the alphabet has a numeric value. A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, D is 4, and so on. Then it goes to 9, and then it goes back and starts over at 1 again. Back in, I believe it was 1997, and some people know this story. I was in a networking group, and it was around February of that year, and the stockbroker in the group was talking about where the Dow Jones index was going to go at that point. And at that point, it was around 7,000. Can you imagine that, where it is today? And where it was back then was kind of unheard of. And he said that he felt by May, which is in about 3 months of when he was speaking at our networking group, that it would hit 8,000. And I sat down there and did the numbers, and the birth date for the New York Stock Exchange is May 17th. And I went in and did some formulae, and I said to him at the end of his speech that it's not going to be May, that it would be July 16th of that year. And I said, look, I'll make you a bet. And we made a friendly bet. It wasn't money. It was just an item. And I said, if it's any time in May, you win. But for me to win, it has to be July 16th. And July 16th of 1997, this New York Stock Exchange hit 8,000 and stayed there. So if you think you can't predict just using numbers like this, you can do a lot, and you don't have to have an ounce of psychic energy in you to be able to use the esoteric sciences that have been around for all these years. And looking over at the screen, hi, Rochelle. Thanks for having your husband call in. I appreciate that. Thank you for watching the show. There's a lot of things that we can do with numerology, and the belief that is that numerology came to this planet over 4,000 years ago. We don't know what the source is, because when you go and look at ancient cultures, they all got it at the same time. No culture on the planet can say we had it first. So because it is a language that encompasses everybody on the planet, no matter what language you speak, the theory is that it's an extraterrestrial science that was brought here at some point. And we do know that when you look at cave drawings, you see what looks like spaceships and beings that are unearthly. And as time goes on, it seems to be that it was brought here so we could learn the use of numbers beyond quantifying. So it's a lot of fun, and it's very simple. And once again, it's Saturday, October 12th from 10 to 6. I love teaching numerology. I love numbers. As a kid, I was one of those kids that was into the stats on baseball cards. I could calculate batting averages, and I actually, believe it or not, I have a degree in accounting from Penn State University. So I love numbers, and I was very thrilled back in 2003 when this book Numerology came out. Now, to clear something up, the NEW is about a new system doing it a bit differently than the way other books did it. And everybody thinks it's because, thanks Audie, everybody thinks it's because my name is Newmont, okay? And that's not why. It's numerology. And coincidentally, they put my name in red, on the book, and they put the new in red on the book. So it's not about Nick Newmont numerology. It's a new system, and what's different about it is that it goes from 1 all the way up to the number 99, so it's the most extensive numerological book that is ever been written. It's like nobody owns it, and by the way, there are great numerology books out there that I've looked at through the years, including my own studies and classes that I took a long time ago. I just add up the numbers a bit differently than some of the other authors, and it allows for the numbers to become so big as opposed to stopping the systems that end at 49. There's one book. There's a caller. Okay, here we go. Hello there.
Hello there. Are you taking more questions?
Yes, I am.
Oh, goody. So I have a 19-year-old son, and I'd love to know what year he's in. What kind of he just turned 19, so he's entering, I think, what you would call a new year.
Well, what's his exact birthday, please?
Sure. His exact birthday is on 9/14/2005.
Okay. So we illustrate how we do it. 2005 adds up to 7. 9 and 14 is 23 and 7. So he is a 30 over 3. So this is a person, first of all, that is should be using his voice in his life. 30 over 3 is let me say this. When a person has a 0 in their numbers, 1 through 9 are man's numbers. 0 is considered God's number, the eternal ring. So this means that he has all or none of voice. Sometimes he'll have a lot to say, and sometimes he is extremely shy and quiet. All right?
Right on. That is totally him.
He is a natural leader. He just has a tendency to feign leadership. In other words, when he should be taking charge, sometimes he backtracks into just wanting to get along with people. Okay? But his voice is very important in his life. This is a person that can sell Eskimo snow. All right?
Really? Okay.
He can be very convincing. All right?
Okay.
But he has to make sure in life that he does the work, because there is a component to him that likes a good time. All right?
Oh, God.
Did you just faint? All right. Now, because he just had his birthday, so we slide the 914 over. This adds up to 8. 9 to 14 is 23, and 8 is 31 over 4. All right. So this is really important, what I'm about to say. He just had his birthday a few days ago, but prior to that, he was in a 30 over 3 year, which matches his birth path number, which means he's just come out of what's called a rebirth cycle. And that's when the personal year cycle matches identically the birth path number. And these are times when a person has to be very mindful of what they're doing with themselves. Because when I've done studies, and this is behind him, on very famous people, and how many famous people left the planet in a rebirth cycle. So this is a time that one is meant to realign themselves and get back on track. All right. And the 30 over 3 creates a lot of drama. All right. Now, because he's in 31 over 4, he's going to use his creativity, speak his mind, and get back to work. You're going to see him go from kind of bouncing all over the place into becoming more serious in this time ahead.
Okay, good.
And he will be, because the number 4 is the four-sided figure, which is the box, he's going to take a much more analytical, linear approach to things and get down to business.
Great.
And 31-4 also means the creative self, doing things that are creative as work, not a hobby. All right?
Right.
So he's going to use his creativity and artistic talents to solidify his place in things. Okay?
Okay.
So he's going to be a lot more structured.
Okay, great.
Okay? Any question about him?
Well, no, I'm just so happy to hear all this stuff. But I mean, the rebirthing thing scared me a little bit. Sorry.
Well, yeah, I know, and you know, he rebirthed in 2014, 2023. I'm talking about his birth cycle, and by the way, he will rebirth again in 2032, 2041, and 2050. Now,
wow.
Now, what this means about this young man is that he will continue to make adjustments in career and things like that as he goes forward, and he will feel to himself a little bit like he's a late bloomer, but he will do a lot of things in his life, and he will, into what we would refer to as mature years, have a look and feel of a lot of energy that maybe his contemporaries wouldn't have.
Okay.
So
We'll take that.
yeah, he's going to do a lot of different things. What you're going to see about this young man is he's very diverse, and he doesn't even know that yet.
Wow. Well, I know he's very creative, and ironically, all he does is play his music and sings all day long. So he uses his voice.
30 over 3. Well, now what he's going to do is find out how that becomes his work.
Great.
He's going to be a lot more structured going forward.
That's fantastic.
Now, for you as his mother, you may find in the cycle he's in now that he's hyper analytical, and he might drive you a little crazy with a lot of why this, why that.
Yeah, he's always been that way. But I can handle it. I just sort of look at him a certain way, and we keep going.
Right.
Okay, this is great news. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling.
Oh, thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. There was a call that was trying to come in, and I'm going to call that person back and get them on before the show ends. We have 4 minutes left in the show.
Hey, Nick.
Hi, Brandon. I saw you called in. What can I do for you?
I don't know. You tell me, Nick.
What's your birthday?
July 11, 1985.
Okay. All right. So you're in a 41 over 5 year. You're in a Pauline year. I mean, you're born as a Pauline, not a Pauline year.
Okay.
You're like my wife.
That's a good thing.
Thank you very much. All right, Brandon. So when you are a 41-5, what you always want to remember is you want to do things for the long haul. Anything that you do that's based on immediate gratification is going to get you in trouble. That's when you're going to step on your own landmines that you laid, okay? Now,
Okay.
one of the things that I love about the cycle that you're in is that a 26-8 means that you and your partner, because you do have a spouse, are more aligned in family issues and or houses, things like that. And you're in an 8 year, which is about managing money and accumulation of money. All right?
Okay.
And because 8 represents abundance, 26 cause 2 partnership, feelings, emotions, 6 family matters, not just a home. Okay? Be very mindful of abundance can also be pregnancy too. So you want to be mindful of that. I think that because there is a Mrs. Brandon, what is her birthday?
She's July 7, or sorry, July 6, 1986.
Okay, so 10, 18, 24. Whoops. 10, 18, 24. She's a 37 over 1. Okay. Now, you two interlock. Okay.
Okay.
She's 37 over 1. You're 41 over 5. Okay. So the number 1 keeps you together. Okay. So
Okay.
what is really important in your marriage is individuality, inventiveness, uniqueness. Okay.
Okay.
Now for her, she's in a 21 over 3 cycle, which does not interlock with 26-8. Okay?
Okay.
But she's in a time where 21 means the partner supports the individual. So she's looking for support from you, but also what she needs from you in the cycle she's in is for you to be her friend, not just her spouse. All right?
Okay.
She's looking for fun right now with you.
Okay.
Okay? What I see with your 26-8 is a lot of emphasis on not just making money, but what your money can do for you. All right? Where you're going to put your money. All right?
Okay.
All right? 8 years, and number 8 year is a return to abundance and doing big things. So over the next 10 months, plan for big things for yourself. Okay?
Okay.
All right?
I can do that. All
Hey.
right.
You're good?
Thanks, Nick. Yeah.
Thanks
I'm
for
good.
calling. Thank you, everyone.
Nick.
Have a good
Appreciate
night. I appreciate you. We took it right up to 7 o'clock. It is time to check out. Thank you. What a fun show. I appreciate you calling in and getting readings. If you'd like to know more about what I do, you can get a hold of me at the Newmont Center at 818-865-8770. Email me at nnewmont@gmail.com or here on Facebook. And I will, if you'd like to get on my mailing list especially, and know about all the wonderful events that we have coming up at the Newmont Center from now to the end of the year. I want to say thank you again to Ed behind the scenes, always taking good care of us when we do our shows. And I will see if I do a show from out of state next week, but I will definitely be back in 2 weeks. Everybody, have a good full moon tonight. Release what you don't need. There's always something to let go of. And send good, great thoughts out to everyone on the planet. Everybody needs it. And of course, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. I will see you soon. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good night.